Dr. Donald Abrams. Okay, I think we can hear you now.
Okay. Clint, you want me to just start in?
Yeah, go right ahead, sir.
Okay, hi. Hello, everyone. I'm sorry I can't be there today with you all. I'm here with our dogs who seem to be quite active, so you might hear them chiming in at some point during our discussion. Clint asked me to talk a little bit about cannabis as I use it in my patients that I see with cancer, as well as to tell you about the upcoming study that we're hopefully about to launch in patients with sickle cell disease. So,
Hello, sir.
yes.
Hello, 1, 2, 3. Okay, there we go. Now, can you say sound out?
From 1, 2, 3, 4.
There you go.
I'm here.
Yes. You're good, sir.
So, again, good morning. This is Donald in San Francisco. And Clint asked me to speak a little bit about my use of cannabis in patients with cancer, and also to describe a little bit the upcoming study that we just got funded to do in patients with sickle cell disease. So, I have been an oncologist for the past 31 years, and interestingly, in the beginning of my training to be an oncologist, which was in the late 70s, cannabis was in much more widespread use by the population in general than it is now. I think Jimmy Carter was president, and it was before the Reagan's war on drugs started, etc. So many young patients with cancer who didn't have the benefit of the anti-nausea drugs that we have today told us that cannabis was quite useful in treating the nausea associated with chemotherapy. Interestingly, many of those young people had either Hodgkin's disease or testicular cancer, both of which we can cure, and both of which we actually use the same chemotherapy regimens today that we did in the 1970s because they've been so effective. So, I'm certainly minded that cannabis was useful in patients living with cancer and being treated. So, over the course of the years, then, dronabinol or Marinol was approved first in 1986 for treatment of chemotherapy associated with nausea.
Maybe you didn't pay the bill.
Oops. All right, so anyway, just to keep this brief, I guess, because it's technical. So pretty much there isn't a day that goes by that I don't see a cancer patient who's complaining of nausea, vomiting, loss of appetite, pain, insomnia, depression. And, you know, these are symptoms that I could write 4 or 5 different prescriptions for the patient, or I can recommend that they try one medicine, and that one medicine is cannabis. And in my experience with my patients, cannabis has been very useful. All the time I see patients who say that they were given very strong anti-nausea medicines for their chemotherapy, but the only thing that worked was cannabis. And they described that when they inhaled cannabis, that the anti-nausea effect is instantaneous. And just the other day I saw a patient who told me that she was really unable to eat for months because of her cancer as well as her treatment for it, and she went to a dispensary and actually got, I believe she got some CBD capsules, and she told me the next thing she knew she was marching through the supermarket picking out food because she was hungry and she had no nausea. So that's an interesting question that I'm often asked. Is it THC or CBD? You know, what is it that's most effective in treating cancer patient symptoms? And I'd say the answer is that, you know, I personally don't know, because there isn't a lot of research that just looks at CBD, and I'll talk about that in just a moment. But from listening to my patients, I believe in ether polymerization. So I think it's the whole plant and all the different chemicals working together that's really providing benefit to the patients I see. Again, you know, the number of people who tell me that they've weaned off of their pain pills, which were making it difficult for them to communicate with their family and loved ones, by moving over to using cannabis for reducing their pain, is really quite large. So, you know, I am very actively recommending cannabis to my cancer patients. And again, for patients that don't want the psychoactive effect, I suggest that they seek higher CBD, lower THC preparation. I do believe that inhalation is very, very rapid delivery. Ingestion by mouth takes longer to have an effect, but for some people provides a more sustained release, and is also very, very powerful medicine. The other thing that I notice is that I ask all of my patients what brings them joy before I examine them. And many patients tell me that gardening brings them joy. I would say probably 50% of my patients, when they give me a list of things that bring them joy, mention gardening. And I've always said that if you're a patient living with cancer, or in fact dying with cancer, or if you feel that a part of you has died, the ability to bring life out of the ground is a very positive experience. And the ability to grow your own medicine, I think, is really very empowering and a very healing opportunity for people facing a cancer diagnosis. So, you know, I think the whole plant, cannabis, is very good medicine for patients living with cancer. About 2 years ago, I was approached by basic scientists from the University of Minnesota named Canna We. And Dr. Gupta has a mouse model of sickle cell disease. This is a form of anemia that's predominantly found in the African American community, and it causes the red blood cells to be an unusual shape, which sludges in capillaries, leading to ischemia, or lack of oxygen to end organs, that creates a lot of pain. Many of these patients are on chronic opiates for their pain relief. And Dr. Gupta came and told me that she has a mouse model of sickle cell disease that's responsive to cannabinoids. And she wanted to propose a clinical trial to the National Institutes of Health to investigate the effects of cannabinoids in these mice with sickle cell disease. But she came to me because she wanted to also, as part of this grant application, include a human proof of principle study. So she asked if I would be interested in collaborating and writing a human component for this truly translational study of cannabinoids and sickle cell disease, looking at mice as well as human beings. So I said okay, and we wrote a proposal. We had already found that adding inhaled vaporized cannabis to chronic morphine or sustained release OxyContin improved pain relief in individuals with chronic pain. So it was an easy step to write this grant proposal. But I really wanted to try to answer this question about CBD, THC, which one is most important, etc. So I told her that I wanted to do a 4-arm study where one group got CBD, high CBD, low THC cannabis, one group got high THC, low CBD cannabis, one group got a balanced preparation, and one group got placebo, because she said we need to do a placebo arm for the 5 days of the study. So when I proposed this, she said, unfortunately, we only have enough money for you to do 2 arms, so choose 2 and one has to be placebo. So I said, okay, let's do the balanced THC CBD, because I had already done a study in the chronic pain patients that showed that the 3.5% THC actually benefited patients on the chronic opiates. So that's what we're funded to do. And we were about to start it last spring when the government sequestered the grant funding from the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute. But now we're ready to launch this study, and in August, Dr. Gupta told me, go ahead and start getting all of your approvals to do the clinical trial. So the first approval I needed was from the Food and Drug Administration to get an investigator new drug application, an IND, to study this THC CBD in patients with sickle cell disease. Dr. El Sule at the University of Mississippi has produced a balanced THC CBD preparation, 5%, 5%, that he has donated to the National Institute on Drug Abuse so that I could use it in the study. You remember that NIDA, the National Institute on Drug Abuse, is the only legal source of cannabis for doing research in this country. So I proposed this, sent the application and all the supporting information to the FDA, and they actually told me that they didn't want me to proceed with the study at this point in time, and they requested that I give them 2 animal species pulmonary histopathology, meaning what happens to the lungs of a rat and a monkey or a dog when they inhale CBD, because they said CBD is a novel molecular entity and it has not yet been given to humans. So I told them that that was going to be a little embarrassing for them, because many patients in California and other states where they have active medicinal cannabis programs are seeking high CBD cannabis for treating their problems. And so, to make a long story short, I ultimately sent them a bunch of screenshots from dispensaries, as well as pictures of high CBD products that are being sold. And I found an investigator in Sydney, Australia, who's doing a study of inhaled CBD-enriched cannabis in patients with schizophrenia. And she wrote a letter in my support, as did one of her colleagues in London. So with all that, the FDA sent me back a letter saying, okay, you can proceed with the study, do either 2 animal species experiments, or only enroll patients in your clinical trial who have already experienced CBD-rich cannabis, so that you won't be exposing them to any more harm than they've already exposed themselves. So with that, we were able to move forward, and now, since I haven't done a cannabis clinical trial for a few years, my DEA Schedule 1 license has lapsed. So we're just waiting for the DEA now to send me the Schedule 1 license. And we're going to start what I think is going to be a very exciting study in patients with sickle cell anemia and chronic pain on opiates, where we will expose them twice during 2 5-day periods to either balance 5% CBD, 5% THC cannabis, or placebo cannabis, and measure the impact on their pain, also their markers of inflammation, and markers of disease progression that Dr. Scouten finds useful in her mouse models. So that's going to be the next study we're going to do.
Yeah, it looks like we lost him again.
Hi there. Woo, woo, woo. Everybody, if we could just hold it down a little bit, please. Okay, we'd like to hear these speakers, and I've been requested by several of them, just a little bit. Use your inside voices, you know, okay? Our inside voices. Thank you.
I'm going to try to move this over here.
I think we're here.
Oh, I see what you're saying. That would be
Network.
That
Okay, I have 2 different devices, so now you're on my other device. So I think I'll just conclude by, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got
Yeah. Okay, so I think I was talking about other studies that I want to do after the sickle cell study. And I think the big problem that I see in my cancer patients are peripheral neuropathy or damage to nerves from the chemotherapy that we use, and we're able to cure more and more cancers. The patients are disabled by pain in their hands and feet from nerve damage. And we've already demonstrated that cannabis is useful in patients with HIV and damaged nerves, and other studies they're looking at diabetics. So we're interested in doing a study to look at cannabis. Again, I think it would be good to look at CBD, THC, both, and neither, to see which works best in patients with chemotherapy-induced neuropathy. And finally, I'm quite interested in looking at cannabis oil and seeing what effect it has on people with various cancers, but I think the good one to start with would be brain tumors, because there's a lot of discussion about that. And Dr. El Sule, again, at the University of Mississippi, has produced a cannabis oil product that he said I could use. However, it's never been tested in humans. So again, if you're going to do a clinical trial, testing something for the first time in humans can't really be done until you establish that it's safe and what the appropriate dose should be. So this would require a, quote, phase 1 study before I could actually look at it to see if it has any beneficial effect in patients with cancer. So those are just a few of the things that I'm thinking about doing. There's always some kind of a roadblock that makes it a little more difficult and takes a little more time than one would hope. But that's what I'm here to do. So thank you for putting up with all the coming in and out of my transmission, and I don't I could answer questions. I don't know how well I could hear anybody, but if you'd like me to answer questions, Glenda, I will do so.
We may be able to.
Any questions for Dr. Abrams?
Any questions? THC versus CBD? I think we're good on questions, Dr. Abrams.
Okay, good. Well, thanks for putting up with the in and out transmission. Have a good day. Okay.
Okay, so we're back to real